Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, I am sharing several different ways to add bright, happy, summery colors to make quick and easy summer cards. I'm going to share some colorful stamping with the latest Concord and 9th Fruit for Thought bundle. Then we're going to move on to Lawn Fawn with some Copic coloring and some ink blending. And last but not least, some layered stamping using the incredibly realistic images from Sunny Studio. So let's jump right into making some quick and easy summery cards. The newest stamp set that we're going to use today is from Concord and 9th. It's called Fruit for Thought. I love these stamps because they are filled-in stamps. They're not outline stamps, which means that you can very quickly and easily create bright colored fruits on your card, which is perfect for the summer. So I am going to stamp out all of the fruits for you so that you can see how they stamp out really cute whimsical shapes. I also love that these stamps have the fruit bottom and the leaf or top of the fruit separate because it just makes it easier to change colors if you want to, or to die cut them really easily. So you can have the fruit without the top, or you can have it with, you can pop things up. It just makes it really easy to stamp them in one color each. So you can see, like for the watermelon, I have the watermelon in that kind of pink color. I think it was the peony color from Concord and 9th's cubes. And then you can stamp the rind in green. So it just makes it really easy to use a couple of different colors of ink. For the sentiment, it is a nice big sentiment that you can have some fun playing around with color again. Now, this stamp is all connected, but it's big enough that you can even create kind of a gradient of color even between one word. So you can see how I stamped sweet with a lighter color and then a darker color at the bottom, and same with friend. And so all three of those words together just look very summery and bright and fun. I'm also going to layer a couple of pieces of Concord and 9th cardstock on top of each other. Again, just really pretty summery colors, and then pop up the Hello Sweet Friend sentiment in the middle. And then I'm going to use tape runner and have the fruits all around the sentiment peeking out from the side. Again, those stems make it really easy to put them on top or behind the fruit so that you can decide how you want it to look. And I love all these bright colors on one card. And it was super quick and easy to do because there was really no coloring. I was just doing a bunch of colorful stamping. For some accents, I'm going to use the Tonic Studios Nuvo Crystal Drops in white. One of the things that I really like about the drops is you can make them so tiny that it would be impossible for a company to make enamel dots that small, but it adds a really nice, really cute touch to your card. For the next couple of cards, we're going to use Lawn Fawn. So I have the ALOHA set and the Tropical Leaves die set. The thing I like about those tiny little stamps from Lawn Fawn is that the price point is so good that you can easily pick up both the stamps and the dies. And they're just super cute. They come with an image. They have a couple of faces in there, and then sunglasses, and the dies cut up the pineapple and the sunglasses. There's a couple of sentiments as well. Those tropical leaves are fun to add to a bunch of different summery cards. So I am stamping the pineapple and the sunglasses in Gina K Designs amalgam ink. It's in obsidian, and I'm going to let that dry overnight so that I can use these three colors of Copic markers to color in the stems. I will list some of the Copic markers that I used, especially these three greens and then a couple of the yellows for the pineapple, down below. I am doing some blending and shading. That's the other thing I like about Lawn Fawn's little images. They're small, but they're not so small that you can't get in a little bit of blending and shading. So for the pineapple, I start by filling in the entire thing with yellow, and then I'm using the cross hatches to add some shading, and I'm using the darker colors, the brown colors at the bottom, and then some extra green and yellow at the top, because I feel like I looked up images of pineapples on my phone and saw that that's usually how they work. Now I'm going to use some purple tape to hold the dies in place and cut them out. And I decided to use sunglasses on one and a little face on the other. So I'm using the Stamp Market's black ink because I love how juicy and black this ink is, that it can sit on top of Copic market coloring and you can still see it. And you can see the little eyes and the mouth all sit inside those cross hatches so you can actually see them. I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending too, and that's another way to get some summer colors onto your cards. I have squeezed lemonade on a square piece of cardstock here. I'm going to add a little bit of wild honey in the center and the top, and then I'm going to blend that out with my squeezed lemonade. And then I'm going to add a little bit of Kitsch Flamingo at the top. I feel like this is a very summery, sunset looking background that's perfect for pineapples, and I'm just blending those out using the domed foam. I'm going to heat emboss on this, so I really want to make sure I use a lot of anti-static and make sure that the panel is dry before I do that. Otherwise, powder is going to stick to the entire panel. So I stamped the ALOHA sentiment from the stamp set, and I used Brutus Monroe heat embossing powder in white, and now I'm using my distress sprayer to add a few droplets to the background just to make it watery and fun. And then I'm going to use Ultra Bond in the pen format to get some liquid adhesive behind these tropical leaves that I'm going to place on my background. So these colors are so fun and summery. Also, I'm using the liquid glue here because I don't know if you've ever noticed, but Distress Oxide, even when it's dry, has kind of a slick feeling to it. So I feel like Tape Runner does not work as well on top of Distress Oxide. I'm using the Thermweb foam squares to pop up my pineapples. These foam squares are pretty sticky, so they work perfectly on Distress Oxide ink and pretty much anything, even glitter cardstock. I'm going to use a little liquid glue to adhere those little sunglasses down to one pineapple. Just think they're so cute. And then a little bit of Nuvo crystal glaze on top of those sunglasses to give them a little bit of dimension and shine as well, being very careful because mine comes out very quickly. I also love the summer plaids from Lawn Fawn. It's the Perfectly Plaid Remix in a 6x6 pad. If you thought plaids were just for fall, you have to check out this pad. It's a beautiful summer plaid pad. And I just think that a little square card with these pineapples is just so cute. I'm going to cut out all of the tropical leaves in white cardstock. So if you don't have a ton of colorful cardstock, a little bit of ink blending on those leaves is a great idea. I'm using Twisted Citron, I'm using Mowed Lawn, and I'm using Lucky Clover. The benefit of cutting them out in white and then using ink blending is you can get, a little bit of shading and blending, almost like you were coloring them with Copic markers, only it's a lot easier because you're just using an ink blending tool and just adding a little bit of ink here and there. Some of them I started with the lightest color, some of them I started with the medium color, so that you get a whole different look for all these different little leaves, and very quickly done as well. And these are just bright and fun. For this card, I'm going for kind of an 80s tropical look. So I white heat embossed the ALOHA on a piece of raspberry cardstock from the Stamp Market. And now I'm going to use the liquid adhesive to adhere some of the leaves on the bottom of this cardstock. Now this cardstock has been cut down to 4 by 5 1/4 because I want to mat it on top of other things. So I am working on it before I mat it because I want to be able to cut off the edges. I don't want anything hanging off the side onto the things that I'm going to mat it on top of. So I'm working on it before I adhere it down to my other piece of cardstock. I adhered a couple of the little leaves around the sentiment, and I'm just flipping my cardstock over and trimming off all those pieces that are hanging off the side, being sure to use nonstick scissors so that they don't get gummed up. I'm going to use some of the plaid pattern paper again. I love this plaid pattern paper. It's so much fun. And then I'm going to adhere this down to the Island cardstock from the Stamp Market as well. Again, really quick, fun way to add summery colors to your cards. For the last set of cards, I'm going to use Sunny Studios layering stamps. So this stamp set is called Berry Bliss, and you can see that there's strawberries, cherries, raspberries, and a blueberry in there. So I'm going to start using my mini Misty one fruit at a time, and I'm going to layer them up and use a bunch of different inks to stamp out my strawberries. So I'm going to be using a combination of the Stamp Market inks and some Distress Oxide inks. Both of these types of inks layer beautifully. I will link down below to some other videos where I used either or of these types of inks in layered stamping and some tips and tricks for getting layered stamping done really well and easily. I find Sunny Studios to be really easy to use as far as layered stamping. It's almost always 100% clear where everything needs to go. You can see how realistic the strawberry is as well. I think that they are brilliantly designed. The way that they stamp just makes it super easy to create realistic images. So I'm going on to the cherries here. I did try and use slightly different colors, some darker colors with the cherries than the strawberry, just to give them a different look, because I had 3 fruits that were red here, but you can see how they all came out just absolutely beautifully, and they were so easy to line up. Not a problem at all. I'm going to use the Hi Sweetie stamp sentiment set from the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it in Stamp Market black ink on some blue cardstock, and this time I'm going to layer some plaid over white cardstock just so that there's a little bit of a matte on the sides there, and then cut that panel with the sentiment down. And then I really wasn't sure how to line up these fruits, so I just wanted you to know that when I am designing or thinking about the design of a card, sometimes I have no clue how I'm going to use the stamped images that I've worked on, even ones that I've worked on so hard, like layering stamps that takes some time. Sometimes you just have to stamp them and die cut them and then move them around on the card until it fits. So the cherry had to go at the top, otherwise I felt like you weren't going to see it. And the beauty of these stamps is that they are so realistic and so fun looking. So last thing I was going to do here is add a little bit of faux white stitching with a gel pen. I think that that adds some kind of homespun look to that gingham plaid background there, and just works for the summer really, really well. Sunny Studios has another layering stamp set with fruit. This one has apples, pears, and peaches, and I thought peaches would be great for the summer. However, the die for this stamp set cuts out the peach with the leaf and the stem. So in order to line it up, I die cut out the peach, and now I'm using the stamp in the negative part of what I die cut so that I can line it up perfectly and not get to the end of my stamping and not have it line up with the die, which I did once. I'm not going to show it here because it really took a long time. So I'm just saving you that time by sharing that it might be easier to die cut first and then stamp with this one. I am going to put the little edge here, that's just a little shading part, and I used all Distress Oxide inks with this. And I did stamp the stem with an acrylic block because those teeny tiny little stamps can be really difficult to pick up with the Misty. So the leaf has 2 layers as well. That's the great thing about their layering stamps, is that everything has little accents and shading and blending, and look at how realistic that looks. And I actually got it right this time. So I definitely recommend die cutting first with those peaches. Okay, I'm going to emboss a piece of white cardstock with their Dapper Diamond embossing folder, and then I stamped a sentiment that says "Have a peachy birthday," and I'm going to mat that on some of that Lawn Fawn Remix plaid pattern paper. This way I can put my embossed panel on top of that same plaid, and then I can pop up my sentiment with the plaid around it at the top of the card, and then I'm just going to add my peaches with some foam squares as well. Super easy. especially once I tried die cutting the peaches first. Even with all the extra heat this year, I'm still soaking up all the joys of summer, including relaxing schedules and adding bright, happy colors to my cards. I'd love to hear in the comments below what your favorite way is to add bright colors in your card making. I hope your summer is and continues to be wonderful. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon.